Vidhammer Fantasy.
Welcome back to Vidhammer. I'm Spudlow, bringing you the next installment for Vidhammer News for October the 28th of 2013. For this week, for last week and this upcoming week, I don't have any new games. Our weekly game is still postponed because we don't have a place to actually have it. Keep my fingers crossed that that situation will work out and we'll have a place we can hang pretty soon. The next tournament that I'm going to be in isn't going to be until toward the end of November. That's the next Dark Side one. I missed this last one because I was at Necronomicon. Whee! I'm currently making a list for the Skaven for Crucible 3. That's the cat just being himself. Pay him no mind. He'll probably be up here on the table in a few minutes. But I'm making a list for Crucible 3, trying to figure out what things I want to take with me. I've looked over the scenarios, and a couple of them are pretty interesting. So I want to kind of tailor things to give me the best chance as far as the games go. You still have to make a list that's going to be good. Really? 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 What do you want? Good for you. I'm happy for whatever it is that he wants. Now, Crucible 3. Crucible 3. Without cats. There will not be any cats at Crucible 3. There will be no cats. None. Especially not this one. Unless I have you in a bag. That's what I thought. But everyone else is going to be seeing all the scenarios, all 5 scenarios. So you can choose your list accordingly. But since there's not going to be any comp there, everybody's going to be bringing some relatively tough armies. The scenarios aren't going to make it incredibly easy to make a broken list, but I can expect there's going to be a few. So I at least want to make mine to where I've at least got a chance. You, however, do not have a chance. You're going to get no food, no water, and you're going to get a kick. That's right. Yeah, there it is. The next painting videos that I'm planning on doing are going to be the crew for the Warp Lightning Cannon. I'm actually going to get those guys primed later today, hopefully if all goes well, and I can start the painting videos on those in the next couple of days. For this week's video, I'm going to give my thoughts on the Warp Lightning Cannon. That was a request from Chris Meister after I did the painting video for the Warp Lightning Cannon. This guy right here. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on the best use, or at least how I use, the Warp Lightning Cannon. So the main thing that I take into consideration when I have a cat screaming at me underneath the table is that I would like to be able to use the Warp Lightning Cannon on actual felines. In which case, take your ruler, measure the distance from the cat, and then see if you can kick the cat that distance. My record is, I don't know, I thought I had it marked down here somewhere, but I don't have enough room to stretch it out that far. You, sir, are going to be put in the garage. Yes. Yes, you are, because you're a kitty. I was talking about Warp Lightning Cannons. Okay. So the Warp Lightning Cannon, it has a variable strength. So it doesn't do quite as well against the elite portions of your opponent's army as a regular, like Empire or Dwarven cannon's going to do. You're not always going to be strength 10. Sometimes you'll be strength 10, sometimes you're going to be strength 2. So if you use your shots from it towards dragons and big chariots and things of that nature, it's not going to be quite as effective as what it's really designed for, which is tearing huge chunks out of your opponent's elite infantry or cavalry blocks. It is awesome in that regard. If you go up against a block of Chosen or a big bus of Bretonnian cavalry, something that has a high armor save and in some cases higher toughness values, that sucker is absolutely golden when it works out. You have to realize the statistics of the situation if you want to get the most effectiveness out of that. In order to do that, I've drawn up a handy little list that you probably see in craps tables and things like that, where you work out the probabilities of rolling specific numbers. Probability of rolling 7 on 2 dice is higher than rolling any other number on 2 dice because there are more ways that you can get it. So if you take a look at your artillery die, you have 6 sides, just like a 6-sided die. You have to throw away the misfire. This one does not count to your range. If you roll a misfire on either die, your shot isn't going to do anything. So disregard that. It doesn't count for the purposes of actually getting this on the board, which is what you want. So the 5 numbers you can roll are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Everybody's got a comment. Average of which would be 6 for the first roll, average again for 6 for the second roll. When you work out your probability, you get a chart that looks something like this. This is a breakdown of every possible roll and all of the 2 dice combinations that are needed in order to make that. You can see by looking at the list, the most common is 12. That's the most common distance that your template is going to go before the most likely distance that the cannonball is going to go before it blows up into the template. This means whatever position the enemy's infantry block holds, you want your shot to start 12 inches before the middle of it, the meat of that unit. So if we take a look at our handy-dandy block of slaves right here, says, why not? You're going to shoot at something, shoot at the slaves. You want your shot to come down right in the middle of that unit to try to get the biggest chunk of guys and to give you the best option if this happens to be drifted a little bit further or a little bit shorter than what you anticipate. You want your shot to go right toward the middle. You therefore want your mark spot, the location you're going to put your little marker down and say, this is the point I'm shooting for. You want it to be 12 inches in front of that small template's hole, right in the center. 12 inches before the hole. This would be for most of your shots right here. You want to line up your target area, set your shot 12 inches before and say, okay, when you keep the ruler out there, I'm coming down on the 12. You roll your first die and you say, okay, I went 10 inches. It means I'm coming down on the 2, and then I'm going another 8, which means you're going to zip right past this sucker. But that's okay. Those were very, very large rolls, so the likelihood of that is pretty small. You'd come down on the 2 and you'd trace through and you'd actually hit like 5 or 6 guys because you're going passing through 5 or 6 ranks. And you're hitting it at strength 8 as well, which means anything but a 1 and you're going to wound. I alter my strategy just a little bit from this because when I look at my list of all the different possibilities, the lower number on that list is the second roll. That's also the strength of the hit. And if you look at some of the possibilities, when you are having a strength 2 or a strength 4 small template hit, that's not going to do anywhere near as much as having a strength 6 or 8 or 10. Since most of the time you're going to be wanting to fire this at infantry blocks or cavalry blocks. Stop it. The strength 6, 8, and 10 shots are relatively the same. You're going to be going up against things which, more often than not, are going to be toughness 3 or toughness 4, which means a 6, stop it, or better, is still... Yeah, stare down. And who won? This guy. Don't mess with the hammer. Strength 6, Strength 8, and Strength 10 are all still going to wound on anything but a 1. Remember, the Warp Lightning Cannon negates armor save, so it doesn't make a difference between Strength 6 or Strength 10. Even if you've got a 2+ armor save, the Warp Lightning Cannon takes it out at Strength 6 just as much as Strength 10. So any of those options are where you want to focus on. So throw away your Strength 2 and your Strength 4 options in favor of your Strength 6, Strength 8, and Strength 10 options. That means I shift from going a 12-inch standard, 12-inch average, down to a 14-inch average. So whenever you see me playing, I'll take the meat of whatever section I want to fire at, and I measure 14 inches back from that. Because I don't care if it comes up short. That's not nearly as bad as if it comes up too long. You want to hit those Strength 8 and Strength 10 shots. You want to try to land them on that enemy unit because you can hit a big pack and devastate guys. Whereas if you come up short and you're having a Strength 2 shot, if a Strength 2 shot misses, I don't care about that one. I want that Strength 6, 8, and 10 shot to hit. So 14 inches back from the center, that's how I play it. And I try to, as often as possible, focus that on the most elite block of troops that my opponent has. Now, of course, sometimes you'll be looking at an enemy's deployment and say, yeah, there's nothing I have that's actually going to be able to stand up against that one awesome thing that he has over there, except the Warp Lightning Cannon. And in that case, yeah, I'm going to fire at it because it's the only chance that I've got. But the whole time I'm going to be thinking to myself, I really wish I could be firing this over into those guys, because if I could, by the time my guys got there, they might be able to kill it. And that's about it for my thoughts on the Warp Lightning Cannon. Let me know what you think. If you see any big flaws in my logic, feel free to let me know, and I'll think about them. And yeah. Till next time, this is Spudlow with Vidhammer saying, keep fighting.